Hi everybody, and once again, welcome to a very special hobby stream with me and the man to my left. In 2006, the man to my left auditioned for MTV's The Real World Tulsa and got a spot. Of course, the show was never aired for obvious reasons. You're on blast, Tulsa. You're not that fun. Brett, how's it going?
It's going great, Zach. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be painting some trees today.
We're back to painting trees. This is kind of where we started. We're back in May.
It's a big circle. Yeah.
Speaking of places nobody wants to go, we are painting trees that are in a place no one would want to go to.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mangrove forest, we kind of call, on Earth, I guess we would call that a mangrove forest. Lots of water, wet place, and really we're going to be painting what Games Workshop calls the Deathworld Forest.
Right, if you can get your hands on one.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that, but that's pretty much it. Good luck right now getting your hands on one. We'll talk a little bit about it, and when it does come out, we'll remind you guys that we did a video on it already, and you should go watch that video, which is this one that's about to happen right now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's get creative. Okay, so we are continuing work on this board that should be coming out in a couple weeks. If you cannot tell, this is a water mat. It's actually called Caribbean Shallows. It's Frontline Games. And it's a beautiful mat. I've wanted to do a water board for a long time. All of this forest terrain, some of it you're gonna see, you'll see like those thick trees in the background. Believe it or not, those are the ones Adrian and I did all the way back in May. But this newer stuff in the foreground, like this piece right here, this is actually from Games Workshop Deathworld Forest kit. This kit, like Brett was starting to say, is hard to find currently. They've packaged it in a few different ways.
Yeah.
It's been sold. Actually, Brett was the one who reminded me that it was sold in a Kill Team terrain box.
Yeah.
And before, they've also packaged it, I know, in just like a big box that says Deathworld Forest and has a bunch of it. So it's been packaged a few different ways already, and a little hard to find. I was looking for it again today, so I could say to you guys, hey guys, here's where you can find it. I will say this, it is available on eBay, but it's being price gouged a little bit currently on eBay.
Yeah.
I don't know, for what you get, the $300 some that people want, I'm not sure if it's worth it.
Right.
So
you know, maybe if your local game shop has a kit of this in the bargain bin, go ahead and snatch it up.
And that does happen. I was talking about being in Boulder over the summer and finding all that towel terrain, all that also
the shield line
stuff, which is also hard to find. So. And if you do come upon it,
it's a really cool kit.
It's a really cool kit.
We like it a lot.
It has a great in-game effect.
It does. Yeah, it works really well with 9th Ed rules.
It does, and there's a couple ways you can use it. We'll talk about it.
So here's where we're going to end up at the end of today.
Yeah. So there's a few different boxes of this stuff. Like I said, it's been sold a few different ways. I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff we've already done. And we'll kind of revisit the Glam Cam today to look at some different ways to establish and build a forest. Even was talking to Adrian today before, and I was saying, you know, I almost want the centerpiece for this board to be just a giant wad of this terrain in the middle, just a giant forest that you say
completely impassable, or like
exactly right. Blocks line of sight, completely impassable. I think you could pretty easily do it.
It's so dense, you can't hack your way through it.
Exactly, right? Now, actually, Brett, sorry, real quick, Glam Cam, one more time. As you guys can see here, we do have like it's set up in a little bit of a ring. And this is why we say it works well for 9th Ed rules, right? Because when you do that, and especially if you have, I know you guys are going to laugh at me right now, but you can make it even bigger with just some moss.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Love the moss.
So you can make this, you know, now you've got like a 10-man squad in there, right?
Right.
And they're in the woods. They're getting -1 to hit when people shoot at them. They're not getting -1 to hit when they shoot back. It's not quite as good as being completely obscured by something and not being able to be targeted at all. But yeah, with a little bit of moss and 3 pieces, you got a woods.
And it's very believable that, you'd have trouble shooting through that and that you'd take -2-inch movement to walk into it.
Right, or a charge. And of course, they also have all kinds of wacky rules that they do with, like, it hurts you and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
Deathworld Forest.
Yeah. So, okay, let's jump into this. Brett, usually Brett and I kind of go through things a little bit.
Yeah.
He's completely unaware of what's happening today.
Yeah,
You can make him do anything right now.
This is like real life. I'm learning what we're going to be doing today in real time with you guys.
Well, so we'll go through the process, and let me grab one that we've already done here from the Glam Camp real quick. We'll kind of go through everything we're going to do. If we could just zoom real quick, Brett, I'll kind of go through some of the process here. So here's a finished one. This one is one of the ones with a ruin on it. We're going to paint the ruins today first. I've actually already taped off a lot of the ruins because the ruins are totally a different color scheme, as you can see, than the rest of the plant. I also went ahead and added the vine. If you guys watched last week, you'll know I added these Citadel vines from last week. So we are going to go ahead and do the ruins first. Now, here is one that I've already taped off. And I'll be honest with you guys, it looks quite gruesome because I've used a combination of masking putty and tape. I think I like the tape better when I can use the tape.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's easier, right?
It's way easier.
You just pull a strip off and mask off what you want to.
It's way easier. In nice, broad, flat areas, it works better.
Right. You have to worry about sticking too much or pulling paint off.
Exactly. So this one has already been taped and masked because that's not super fun to watch, I know. But some of you are thinking, oh man, I totally want to see Zach tape and mask something off. And so I'll go ahead and do that. While I do that and kind of just show that for anyone who wants to watch, if you're out there and you're like, I really want to watch somebody mask something.
It's a skill, and if you've never done it before, it can be a little daunting. I can tell you I was scared a little bit to mask the first time I tried it.
Okay, so what Brett's going to do, I guess we could do either one. No, let's have, I kind of have it plotted out. Brett is going to cover the rest of these, the thick woodsy part in Night Lord's Blue. Night Lord's Blue
Great.
Is the color we're going to go for. Now, interestingly, a few things. First, we're going to do the Night Lord's Blue first. Yep. Then we're going to paint all the flowers, the deadly plant leaves and flowers. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to use the second blue, which is called Cantor Blue, and highlight the Night Lord's Blue. So the reason is because when we paint the flowers, we're mostly going to be painting down, and some of that's going to hit the Night Lord's Blue.
Yeah.
So you might be thinking, okay, well, why not just do the flowers first, then do the Night Lord's Blue, then the Cantor Blue over top? Well, if some of the purple or the pinks or whatever from the flower get on the blue, and then we go over top of that a little bit, I kind of like that. It's almost like a natural undertone that I'm cool showing up on the flower.
We could also just use like a handheld mask, essentially like a note card or something, and just like block off while we're airbrushing. If you didn't want that.
If you didn't want that, it ends up not. I did it earlier today on this one that I did, and it didn't really even come through. So
I've seen Adrian do that a couple times when he's in sort of frantic airbrushing mode, and he's like using an airbrush to paint 98%, absolutely as much of a model as he possibly can, just for speed. He does a lot of work with handheld masks, just a card in his hand to like block off things, and I think that's like an underutilized tool in my toolkit anyway.
Now, I just said I'm going to, I think so too. I actually need to we've talked about this before, like having index cards here. Now, I actually just said I'm going to mask this off. That would be silly for me to mask it off right now because I haven't painted it yet. So first, let me paint the rune. Let me show you. I knew there was a reason I did this other than just showing people how to
The first layer, you don't have to mask.
Yeah, so, okay, to paint my ruin, I have a particular formula here. I'm doing Mournfang Brown for the base, Citadel. Then I'm doing Minotaur Cracked Soil, but this could also maybe be, the Citadel color I think might be Terminus Stone. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a cool tan, but it's like a mid-tone, maybe a little darker than Terminus Stone. And then to end it, we're going to hit it with some highlights of Skull White. Now, you notice mine also was very green, and that's because at the end of this whole process, we're going to tint everything, of course. So Brett's getting going with Cantor Blue.
And I'm doing all of these? You want me to do all of these?
Yeah.
Cantor Blue?
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah. You're gonna do, and I'm gonna give you this one at the end here. You're gonna do just like the thick blue, or well, it's not blue yet, so that's not really fair to say to you. Yeah, Brett, just paint the blue part blue. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Just paint the thick vine part blue. Now, the other thing you guys will notice, maybe have noticed, is here. I have a link up, and the Titans, our sister channel, they're doing their tournament, the Tabletop Titans Tournament 2. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
The TTTTT.
Yeah, starting this Saturday, in a game of Ultramarines versus Death Guard, classic matchup. And we actually did some of the Ultramarines on stream Friday.
We did. Yeah, last week on Friday. If you want to see Zach and Adrian slowly go insane over 8 hours, they painted 6 dreadnoughts in a single day. It was impressive.
Well, you and Bridger did show up and help a bit, which was really helpful.
Mostly moral support.
Mostly moral support, but also just like nice to be able to get a bathroom break, you know? Anyway, the tournament is starting this Saturday, and it's not a tournament between the Titans, between the different guys. It's a tournament really between the armies, right? So lots of people are doing brackets. We have, let's see, what view would best, just like normal shoulder or top down?
There you go.
Okay. Challenge, and this is an o.com/Tabletop Titans, or Tabletop Titans TT. You can fill out your own bracket. Brett and I have already filled out a bracket, which we did on paper. We said, we kind of thought to do it kind of late here, and we were like, oh, we maybe don't have time for a digital overlay, so we were like, let's just write it. Let's just write it down.
So here's our brackets.
Here's our brackets.
So the armies in the tournament are Ultramarines, Death Guard, Thousand Sons, and Orcs versus Sisters, Drukhari, Custodes, and AdMech.
Yeah.
And so you can see, Zach, you've got Death Guard beating Ultramarines.
Yep.
You've got the Orcs beating Thousand Sons.
Yep.
You've got Dark Eldar beating Sisters, and the AdMech beating the Custodes.
Yep.
And then, so the finals would be Orcs versus AdMech, and you are thinking the Orcs will win it.
I do think the Orcs are going to win it, and I don't think anyone who's looking down at your bracket is going to anticipate much of a conversation between you and I on this, because it also looks like you think the Orcs are going to win
I
it.
also think Orcs are going to win it. I think they're going to get there a little bit differently. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Orcs are kind of the sleeper. I think everyone's thinking Dark Eldar and AdMech are hot stuff right now and unbeatable, and the kings of the meta. But I think Orcs have the tools to. And honestly, I haven't seen the lists that they're running. These are just my takes on. This is just our takes on. Based on the strength of the army book itself.
Yeah.
Not the specific armies. Well, I guess we know that the Ultramarines are running Dreadnought heavy.
We do know that. I mean, I think we know that the lists are strong lists.
They're strong lists. They're meant to be strong lists, yeah. Anyway, that's fun. So if you want, I'm going to show the link one more time. Zach, challenge.com/Tabletop Titans TT. And you can go to that link, fill out your own bracket, and that's fun.
It is fun. I agree with you. I think Orcs are a little bit of a sleeper, and I'm excited to see them do well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Also, I also kind of think T Suns might be a little bit of a sleeper.
Right.
And they're playing each other right away.
Right.
So.
Well, I think T Suns are all about mortal wounds, and I feel like
Orcs don't
care about mortal wounds.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
It's sort of similar to why I think they'll beat Drukhari.
Right.
So we'll see.
Zach, do you want me to paint this this icon as well?
No. That should be.
That can be left unpainted.
Yes, please. Well, that's already painted.
It is already. All right.
Yeah,
so intentionally, you want me to intentionally avoid it?
I want you to actually actively not paint it.
Okay. Good. That's what I was doing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see which who's gonna win because I kind of have no clue. I know everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be Drukhari or Admech, but I don't know. It'd be kind of wild if it was Ultramarines.
Just a bunch of dreadnoughts that 2 guys painted up in 8 hours?
Yeah.
Taking home the prize?
Yeah, that'd be kind of wild. Okay, guys, so I'm painting yeah, there you go, all blue. So I'm painting the ruins here, and I want to show this because I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm going to highlight the ruin. It's already painted, right? And paint it in, as we like to say around here, the color that it is, right? So it's already, it's drying a little bit, but that's okay. So it's already painted Mornfang brown. That was the base coat.
A tree being painted brown?
Well, this is the ruin.
This is heresy. Oh, the ruin.
The ruin, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Now the tree's blue.
Good. Good.
And then Minotaur cracked.
We have a reputation to uphold here,
Yeah,
Zach.
I know, right? And then Minotaur cracked soil, which, as you can see, like the color is this sort of, I don't know. It's
like a light. It's like a whitish brown.
Yeah.
A brownish cream.
And it's like cool though. It's not
Yeah.
warm, which I like. Okay, so now I'm using one of my favorite paints. As you can see, I have an extra big bottle in case you missed that reference size. I love this paint, Minotaur. This is Skull White. You guys hear me? I use Skull White and Snow White all the time, and I use it just like to lighten things up.
Yeah. So I think the thing we like about this paint is it's not a heavy pigment. It's
Right.
You can apply it atop basically any color, and it doesn't read as white so much as just a lighter version of that color.
That's it.
And so it's great as an airbrush highlight color. So if you're painting green, you put just a little tiny blast of this Skull White on the green, and it reads as lighter green.
Yep, and that's it. It's super easy. I use both Skull and Snow. Skull is like supposed to be neutral, and Snow is supposed to be cool. I haven't used any other ones. There's some of the GW ones are okay for this as well if you thin them, but they just don't go on quite as thin.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, think about it like this, like if you're putting a thin highlight on like that, you can always add more. You can go back, but going back to pain in the butt. Like you gotta bring your old color back in. So yeah, I don't know. For this reason, I do love it.
Yeah, it's
Very
a favorite around the studio.
Yeah.
We use a lot of it, which is why you have such a big bottle of it.
Yeah, I have like multiple bottles at home. I actually was insane and bought like a 6-pack of both.
Of the big bottles?
Of both the big and the little
gosh.
bottles, yeah.
You are crazy, Zach. And Minotaur, for those who might not know, is the Badger paint brand.
Right.
So the Badger, the airbrush company, has a paint line, and we like their white paint.
Yeah. I've used a lot of their paints before. I've definitely heard some of my friends say that they're kind of all over the place on if they like their paints or not. We're gonna use this one today called Dark Green. Their titles are a lot.
What color is that?
Yeah, their titles are
It's
pretty
like sort of
straightforward.
they have the opposite naming philosophy to Turbo Dark.
Yeah, which we will also be using a lot of today.
What color is it? Oh, it's dark green.
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty much.
I know what I'm getting.
Pretty much straightforward. So we will be using a bunch of it today. The dark green is kind of interesting because it's almost like gloss. It has like a little bit of a glossiness to it that nowhere did it say it has.
Yeah.
And I think that probably a lot of people wouldn't like that. For our purposes, it's all for my purposes, it's always a bit like a foundation coat.
Right.
And
So the gloss maybe doesn't matter?
the gloss doesn't matter. It's actually why I use my towel.
Oh, interesting.
So as well. So like I just don't really care. But I could imagine being like, that's not the look I was going for, if you didn't know. So okay, this guy.
Zach, I have a question for you before you move on. What are your thoughts? Should I paint the foliage
No,
blue as well?
but it doesn't really matter if you get
We're
any
gonna paint
on.
over it.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds
We're gonna paint over it. So okay, I'm gonna do a little masking here.
good. Ooh,
Yeah, it's
exciting part.
It's nothing special. As you can see, I'm doing.
Oh, Zach, apparently you have something in your hair.
Really?
You gonna stick your head forward into the camera and show it? Oh,
That looks like a piece of blue tape.
it's moss, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad it was moss and not a piece of blue tape.
Moss is very on brand for us.
That I just have moss in my hair already.
Yeah, you're setting up a table and you're like, oh, I need some moss. Oh, let me just some people are like saving stuff in their beard for later.
I think it'd be really funny if it was a different color moss than like the moss everyone just saw me working with. Like that's how much I work with moss, that it was like just like green or just like some other color moss, and people
Yeah,
are
you're like, oh, this is from the other terrain project I was doing before I did this video.
Or yes, or even worse, just like
moss.
general exposure to moss in the
Oh
studio.
yeah, I was like, at home doing some laundry and like
This is moss.
got moss in my hair as a result.
Okay, so I am, I'm just masking this up, guys. Nothing too fancy here, just to be able to pass to Brett. And like I don't know, with stuff like this, what I've been doing recently is masking with tape and then like being kind of messy about it, as you can see here. And then checking it out after I'm done and then hitting any like little weird spots with either more tape that I rip off from extra long pieces, like you saw me just do right there, or with the masking putty right here. So I might use a little bit of that as well, because we do need to cover all of this. And the masking putty, by the way, is Brett. Oh my gosh, Brett was asking me things to put in the link. I'm sure I didn't mention this one.
We did not.
We always forget. We always need to add stuff, so we'll add it. But the masking putty we use is this AK brand. We use a lot of AK stuff around here, and it works great. Some people use silly putty, and I'll just be honest, I don't know if that's a better idea. I will say this, I'm actually not convinced it's a less expensive idea, although maybe, I don't know. Silly putty's probably pretty cheap.
Yeah, I imagine the attraction of silly putty is the fact that that it's low cost, and if you used it once and it got destroyed, you could just get rid of it and buy some new ones. But honestly, this masking putty, it doesn't go bad. It just like it lasts forever. So
yeah. Okay, boom. We need a little bit more right there. And of course, we'll have to have some control as we paint. Now, as you can see, this guy is not anywhere close to being finished, because here's the finished one. But we're going to do the green tinting all at the end. There's also a little gem there, and I may or may not do the gem on stream. I don't know. We did a million gems last week.
Yeah, I'm kind of gemmed out.
Yeah, I know. If you guys want to see a gem happen, check out last week's vid, which is also the vid where we started this project. And I think the board's going to be ready pretty soon. Cool.
Yeah, how many more videos do we have, Zach, to complete this board?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure.
So we did last week's was the first one.
Yeah.
This will be the second one.
Next week we're going to take a little break from it.
We're going to take a little break, but then we've got, I don't know if you guys can see them. There's some things on the shelf over there that are.
There are some things on the shelf
alert.
that I'm not gonna. Some of them I'm not gonna do on stream.
Oh, okay.
And some of them we will. Okay, let's see. How are we doing here? Ooh, you know what, Brett? Can you hand me the one that has like the trumpety looking things?
Yes.
Yeah, let's take a look at this guy.
Can.
Okay, so Brett and I, as he finishes up with the Cantor Blue, Brett and I are then going to move on to doing these different flowers. So I'm doing each flower in a different color, but I'm keeping mind of what my color palette is for this board, which is lots of kind of greenish blues. These flowers on these plants are actually one of the big areas of contrast. Not so much this flower though, because it's actually just going to be green. But like as you can see, this one right here, it's purple. So some are going to be purple, some are going to be green, and some are going to be pink. This one right here, I'm going to knock out real quick because it's the only green one I have left that we haven't done. So that way Brett and I can together do the pink and the purple ones. So to do this guy, this is the dark green, Minotaur dark green, and we're airbrushing. I think the big thing I would say, like when you're working with this kit, the flowers are big, right? Like they are this opportunity to add a contrasting color and frankly not get it wrong, right? Like you could maybe pick a wrong place to add a contrasting color or like try to force a contrasting color. But I think like anyone's gonna look at weird flowers and be like, oh yeah, of course they should be a weird color, right?
I think, yeah, that's a really good point. I think one of the, and I just make that point more generally for this entire kit. Like this is a Deathworld Forest in a world that none of us have ever heard of, and on a planet that's on the other side of the galaxy, for 38,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
Please do not buy this kit and like paint the bark brown and the leaves green. Like this is an opportunity to
thank you.
Just like Dr. Seuss it up with your trees. Like
Seuss
yellow
it, yes.
trunk and pink leaves.
Yeah.
Like this is an alien world, and there's no reason it needs to be like look anything like what we have on Earth.
I love the idea of Dr. Seussing this up.
Yeah, I mean that he kind of paved the way. Dr. Seuss paved the way for gave us permission to go crazy with these trees.
Yeah. Okay, so the Deathworld Forest is the dark green. Deathworld Forest, by the way, also is a color. If you guys are like, oh, let me find a Deathworld Forest kit, the first thing you're going to actually find is a Citadel color called Deathworld Forest.
Right.
Which I'm sad to say is quite drab and quite green.
Yeah, don't paint your Deathworld Forest trees Deathworld Forest green.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so you can see this is the Minotaur. It is still a little wet, but also it's not only wet. And like I was saying, it's kind of got this bizarre glossiness to it. Whenever I paint my towel, especially if I haven't painted my towel for a while, I prime them all and then I coat them all with this paint and then kind of set them down as I'm like going through some other models and putting it on. And I look back at like my first Crisis suit when I'm on Crisis Suit 9 and I'm like, wait a minute, why is that still wet? And I always forget. Now, Brett, you actually can see there on yours, on the one Brett's working on, that some of the brown is showing through.
Yeah.
I actually got these from someone else and painted over them and didn't do the best job priming. So if you can, whatever you can
that's
cover.
fine, yeah, I'm covering.
Okay.
I got you.
Perfect. All right, so here's the deal with this thing. Second point that we're gonna make is all of these trees, all these plants, one, it's an opportunity to use turbo dark paints that are kind of weird and have like the metallic different colors and the color shifts. So we're gonna do that. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna it's a good opportunity to practice the skill of dry brushing or edge highlighting.
Yeah, there's so many great edges on this kit.
Right, and we're not really gonna like edge highlight carefully, like going around with a paintbrush. We're just gonna dry brush it on.
Yep.
And it works amazingly on this kit. And we're gonna use colors that are not like a lighter version of the color we're doing. Again, to make it look alien. So we have like, these ones are gonna be really green and orange. Very little orange. And orange is one of the few warm tones on this entire board. So I'm using a color we used last week, a Turbo Door color, Absinthe. And I sort of base these things as they clearly have been designed off of like carnivorous flowers here on Earth, right? You guys can see they have like this maw. So I'm gonna leave this kind of green. The outside, like it doesn't matter that that's dark green, but inside here, we're gonna give it a quick blast of Turbo Dork Absinthe.
That looks amazing. Yeah, I like that look a lot.
So the inside and these little claws, although we have something else kind of planned for the claws as well.
Because the way these plants work is they just sit there and they wait for things to crawl into their mouth, right? And then the mouth closes. So they need to have some kind of a lure. And so that's what these like bright colored openings are, is they're attractive to whatever native species are on this planet, whatever animals are on this planet.
So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna hit with like a matcha, which we also used last week. And matcha is, since we have the zoom in here, I'll show you guys. So here is Absinthe, which is what we just did. And next we're gonna hit it with matcha, which I use as like a highlight. Matcha is a little warmer than absinthe, but I still think it works well as a highlight color. We did it all last week, and I was happy with the results. So next, I'm just gonna hit a little bit in kind of around the edges of the giant plant maw with matcha to just as a natural highlight. And then we are gonna get a little cute with some orange. To Brett's point, they have like a lore, right? So my thinking was what I sort of did when I painted these is I said, this plant looks like it would probably eat something like a terrifying like mini pterodactyl creature, but I could also imagine it eating other things. So I kind of came to this headcanon that it would have a few different lores, and that its different lores would attract different food sources.
Yeah, maybe it has some for eating insects, and one for eating birds, and one for eating ground mammals.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the little claws, and the claws are like the third lore, because we're gonna do the claws in yet one more slightly different color. And I don't know, I agree. I really agree with Brett. Like, definitely pick a palette of colors, but like, don't just go wild. Like, don't just sit down with your Deathworld Forest and have like every color.
Every color on your paint rack.
Yeah. Pick like a few, but think about where it's going in the context of the rest of the board. And in general, this is something that we talk about a lot. Like, kind of plan your board out, plan your board's colors out, and then say, how can I use the Deathworld Forest to get like some contrasting like little points?
Yeah, some complementary colors in there.
Or contrasting, right?
Yeah.
Or both. I think. I think of them almost more like small little points of interest. Like this board is mostly going to be like these bluish greens.
Right.
Everything's tinted peel tan.
And the trees are going to be bluish green. The logs, the wood. I don't even know if this is wood.
I don't know either.
But then the flowers can be something kind of crazy.
Yeah, the flowers will be crazy.
Okay, I'm done with blue.
Awesome. Let's do some flowers.
Flowers. All right,
Let's
cool.
do. Okay, so while this flower dries a little bit more, because we actually have a little bit of brushwork to do on this guy, but the airbrushing is done almost entirely actually on this entire plant. So this one's done. So Brett, we've got.
I'm gonna give you some of these back.
Yeah. So let's divvy them up here. We've got pink, we've got the big maw. No.
Yeah. You want both big maws, right? Because you're gonna load up the same color, and I'll do these.
Oh,
ones.
I guess so. I thought it'd be more fun if we did each one together. Aww. It's a little less efficient, but I think.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay,
let's do it.
So.
All right, then I'll give you one of these.
Yeah, give me one of those, please. Thank you. Okay, so and the reason I thought this would be more fun is because we are doing some pretty wild colors here, and I don't know, it's just kind of fun to do. So, for our first giant plant, the purple flower, you guys saw earlier today. We're going to start off by airbrushing it with Citadel Phoenician Purple. This is a really great color. Like, anytime you're doing purple, this is, there might be one darker Citadel Purple than this, but I don't think so. I think this is as dark as the Citadel Purple gets, in the airline anyway. So for me, this is usually kind of my foundational purple. I use this for my towel, any place where there's very few places, just like the Cadre Fireblade and the Ethereal.
Yeah, it's an accent.
Anywhere they have like a cape or a cloth or anything.
Is that the color you use for the Kroot, like tribal markings?
No, but we will. That's Gene Stealer Purple, and we will use that one too. That one I think kind of goes up on this line. Okay, so now I'm painting this thing, and there's not much to it. The big thing as Brett and I start this, that I'll say to you guys at home, and I'll say to Brett. Don't hit that with purple. It doesn't matter if you hit the blue. It does matter if you hit the ruin. So avoid the ruin. I mean, we can always touch it up, so it's not a big deal if you do hit the ruin.
Oh, it's a big deal, Zach.
But yeah, it's a time sink, right? You got to go back and do that. So
we'll not be hitting ruins today.
Yeah, please. So Phoenician Purple. And get the underside, because this is the only color of purple we're gonna hit under the flower.
Right, this is the dark, you can hit the dark, you want the dark color on the underside.
We do want it, yeah, we do. We don't want it like, it looks unfinished if like somebody looks and it's blue. Or,
Right.
or like black,
Yeah.
even worse, right?
Yep,
But if they look and it's like at least the dark purple, then they're like, okay, I guess that makes sense.
it's believable, yeah.
I'm
Oh,
always,
yeah, this is so risk tricky.
oh, the siphon thing.
If you guys, I'm using a siphon feed airbrush, which has this little cup that hangs down, and the cup is just kind of friction fit into the bottom of the
Right,
airbrush.
I was noticing that.
And so if you don't kind of wedge it in there well enough, it'll just fall out, and then you'll just get a cup of purple paint all over you.
Has that happened to you before?
It happened to me on streams
Oh my.
a few weeks ago.
Oh, geez.
And so now, like, once bitten, twice shy, is that the expressions? Twice, I don't know. Anyway, I'm super, like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm super paranoid about it now.
Well, I have a question, and maybe you can speak to it now that you've used a few different types of airbrushes.
Yeah.
And maybe the answer is none. But what are the advantages or disadvantages to siphon feed?
Oh, yeah. Let me
over-
let me put this down. I'll show you. It's very visual.
Okay.
So
While Brett's preparing a visual aid,
I'm getting visual aid.
I'm going to get going on the next coat of paint into the flower.
So the advantage is you can put a giant cup on it. So,
oh, okay.
So this comes with the airbrush, and it's like a giant bottle that you can fill with primer, or you can fill with some like super base coat.
Got it.
And then just like go ham and paint. It's not meant for miniatures really. Like a siphon feed airbrush is more meant for artists, you know, who might be painting, you know, a big wall of something or other. Or if you're doing a bunch of t-shirts or something like that.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you know, I think there's a world where you're just painting an entire table's worth of terrain in one day, where something like this adds some value. But really, it's just about time savings, because if you can use a normal gravity feed airbrush like you've got there with your Badger Patriot, and just fill it up 5 or 6 times and essentially be in the same place. So yeah, I don't know that there's actually any real quote unquote advantage beyond just a very small amount of time savings if you happen to be doing a ton of extra work, or you know, a ton of stuff all at once.
It's interesting, yeah. I could kind of imagine filling up a few of those bottles and kind of being able to like swap them in and out, but then there's also still paint in the line.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there are applications where maybe you don't care about mixing the paint too much, or you just
Yeah.
spray it out and you waste some and you move on.
yeah,
Anyway, miniature painters don't really use siphon feed airbrushes. I bought this before I knew what I was doing, and I bought it so long ago that like the internet existed, but it was like there weren't just 1,000 videos on every topic imaginable on YouTube that everyone could just go to and look at.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I want an airbrush. I'm gonna go to my like local craft store. I had like a 30% off one item coupon. I went to like my local craft store and bought an airbrush.
Right.
And didn't really know what you know, what was good and what worked and what didn't. And here we are now, 12 years later.
Wow. So you would not recommend the siphon?
No. But you know, functionally, this is called the Anthem, the Badger Anthem. It's on the inside, it's basically the same as the Patriot.
It looks even on the outside, other than that thing.
Yeah,
almost
it's just got a different feed mechanism.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pass. There's not a lot left in here, Brett, but it should be plenty. I'm gonna pass Gene Sealer Purple to Brett. Now, he'll notice, and you guys at home will notice that I mostly just did Gene Sealer Purple kind of in the middle of the flower. So I did not do, it's the lighter purple. So we covered the whole thing in Phoenician purple. And then the flower itself, like the open part, which I'm sure has an official name, but the part where an animal might land, I did, you know, especially the center, but about the 2/3 radiating out, I did with the Phoenician purple. Excuse me, the Gene Stealer purple. Okay, and then for our last colors where things get really fun, because we're going to use a Turbo Dork color, which is actually called People Eater.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. I thought it was like a pretty good name, and then also, you know,
Topical.
Topical for this plant.
You know, these flowers are large enough they could actually eat a person.
Oh, sure. Heck yes.
This flower, like, to scale is probably 30 feet across. Maybe not that big. 20
12,
feet across?
maybe 12, 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they're big. Okay, so I'm doing Gene Steel Purple next.
Yeah, where'd it go?
Here?
Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Right there.
Yeah.
And just kind of like in the middle, like here, I'll show you mine, but like radiating out a little bit.
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay, so here we go with a little bit of Turbo Dork for the final step. Well, actually not the final step, but the final airbrush step here. Okay, so since Brett has to produce, I'm trying to kind of stay one step ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, hitting this here now. And I'm actually mostly putting the purple People Eater color where the light purple was. A lot of these Turbo Dorks shine much better with a lighter color.
Lighter colors, yeah.
Underneath of them. So
yeah.
that is almost what the purpose of the Gene Stealer purple was. So we had the Phoenician to kind of make the whole thing purple. Then we had the Gene Stealer kind of in the middle section here to make it lighter purple.
As like a prep for the Turbo Dork.
Pretty much a prep for the Turbo Dork. Now, if some of the lighter purple got around, that's cool. It's almost like a little bit of a highlight. But there we go. There's the Turbo Dork Purple People Eater. And it's going to remain kind of shiny and kind of metallic-y forever, which is cool. Here you can see the finished one. And you can see also that we're going to ultimately be using dry brushing this with orange, which is what I was talking about when I was saying we're really using like a funky color to, you know, edge highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, orange, we did orange on our trees before. Orange is a good tree highlight color.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna zoom in here and let's see. So just in the center, kind of radiating out. Cool. I like that.
Yep.
That's it. I'm just gonna do that.
That's pretty much it. You could maybe go a little.
A little more?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yep. Oh,
did it.
Here's this. So what we are doing for our kind of like mainlining this process here is we're just gonna do all the airbrushing first, or most of all the airbrushing first. Then we're gonna go through, and these are gonna have little amounts of details on them that we want to kind of pick out. And I think that's kind of important. I never feel good about stuff when I only airbrush it, you know?
You feel like you're cheating?
Well, I feel like it has a look. And it has a look of only having been airbrushed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, airbrushing is a great process, but even just a small amount of actual brushwork goes a long way to making your airbrush work really stand out.
That's it, yeah. Brett, if you want to hand me one of the other ones.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, while Brett finishes up the purple one, I'm going to start on the fungal-looking kind of spore goofy flowers.
Yeah. These aren't leaves, right? Are they leaves?
I don't know.
Did I miss a spot there?
Oh, maybe. We'll hit it real quick. Good eye.
Maybe brush it even?
Well, good eye this time, not good eye.
Not last time.
Not last time. But also it's funny.
Snap.
It's also funny because the spot you missed was like not. It was also a spot I missed with the primer. So there's just like this brown.
There's this
from
brown
when I got
spot
it
right
when
there.
I got this in the.
Yeah.
There we go.
Done.
Very quick.
All right, cool. Because you know that would have been the spot that there'd be a 4K camera pointed right at it.
Right.
And one of you guys and sharp-eyed in chat.
I know, and like Adrian would miss it because he's doing a million videos.
You know, I produced the game last night, and Cobra was like, "I don't think the sword's on the table."
Oh my gosh, was
and
it?
and it was not. I was like, I looked, I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
It was over on the side. It was on like the terrain cart.
Did you sneak it on?
And so then, yeah, while Adrian was doing the hand cam, I like snuck over, grabbed the sword, like stashed it on the table, and it wasn't 30 seconds before like Chad had found the sword. I was,
Yeah.
like, so impressed.
So that's very funny. If you guys aren't sure, the Tabletop Titans, when they play, they put a little sword. It's always somewhere on the board and try to hide it, and people would kind of just try to visually find it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a mini game.
Yeah, it's like a reoccurring Easter egg that they do. And I will also say that one time I was producing, and people started saying, hey, I don't think that the sword's on the board. And I was looking, and I was like, I don't think it is either. And it was a game where like me, Adrian, I think it was me, Adrian, and John, and we were really like, we rushed like right at the end to get the show. Like we were doing a couple things, and I was like, oh my god, I don't think it's there either. But I couldn't. I was like looking around the room when I was like on the top-down view. I was like looking around trying to find. I couldn't find it.
It never goes very far because it's on the table.
I know, but for some reason like I could not find it.
Yeah.
So okay, I am doing these red. I'm using a Citadel red. I'm using Mephiston red. We have a lot of that around here. This is the red I have often because I use it on my Eldar. So, but I actually do know for a fact that earlier when I did the first version of this tree, I think I used a different red. I think I used Minotaur Nebula red, it's called.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know where that got off to. Oh, do you need...
Can you hand me the Mephiston red? Let's start on this guy. Is that appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just give him a nice coat of Mephiston red. So this is going to end up being very pink, actually. But the Nebula red, I think it's going to be fine. Here, I have to be super careful because I really don't want this on the ruin because it's red, especially. It's going to be like very obvious. I'm actually going to go ahead and, I didn't mask this earlier, but I'm going to mask it now. Like so. Boom, boom, boom. Like so. Ooh, I'll pass this one to Brett and mask his for him as well. We're trying to see if they can be eaten or not.
Yeah. Michael in chat was suggesting that we get a guardsman for scale and see if they fit inside the traps.
Definitely.
So we'll do that here in a second.
Okay.
Procured a guardsman.
Brad, just a little extra masking.
Oh, can I just use yours?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you've got.
I haven't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll film.
No, well, I mean, I'm going to be a second. I guess it kind of does make sense.
Okay. Is there another color that I can load up?
Yeah. This is Minotaur Lust Pink.
This is going to be our accent color for the Minotaur red.
Well, this is the Citadel red, but this is going to be.
Got it.
This is actually really going to be the color of the leaves. This is pink.
A Fiston red. Yeah. Cool. So you'll do the base. I'll do the accent with this pink. Yeah, this is interesting. So the Minotaur, again, because it's sort of almost like, it's almost like a wash. It's like a real dilute paint. Mm-hmm. It'll work similarly to the Snow White like we did before, but with just a bit of a pinkish hue. Yeah,
I think you have to like think of their paints. Yeah, sorry. I think you have to think of their paints that way, or at least some of them. But the issue is, because like I said, I've had friends who are like, oh man, I love some of their colors, I don't love some of the other colors. And I think that's sort of what's going on. Like, but the thing is, and I love Badger airbrushes, I love my Minotaur pinks, and whites and stuff. But it's like they don't tell you that. Right. They just sell it all, right? They also have their ghost tints, which are super awesome. Their red is what I use for blood.
Do you want to give me some guidance here?
Is it coming out?
Yeah, but as far as strategy or how should I be
I see.
applying
Let's grab
this?
the one behind. You'll see the one behind you. Let me grab it from the glam cam. It's quite pink.
Oh, it's very pink.
It's very pink, yeah. Aggressively pink.
Aggressively pink.
And on top of that, we're going to add a color shift as well on top. So yeah, you can go crazy with the pink.
Am I worried about overspray here? I kind of don't want to get the trunk really, right?
Yeah, I mean, we still have another color to add to the trunk.
Okay.
And that's sort of what I was talking about where like we're okay actually doing the trunk last because we're spraying downward mostly.
Do you want me to get the underside?
No, the underside can stay red. But don't get the ruin, which should be pretty well taped off at this point.
Okay, how does that look? A little more?
Yeah, a little more.
Okay.
There you go. If it's like blasting out like that, that's good. Okay, while Brett's doing that, I'm gonna load up the final color for the pink leaves, which I think like looked very like lacy fungal kind of a thing going on.
That's great.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, and this is a Turbodoric color shift. It's called Shell Shocked, and it's a shift from pink to green. I kind of personally find it stays more pink.
But it almost looks white.
It does look white.
Yeah.
Most of these
Okay.
do. Yeah.
I'll zoom in on you there.
Yeah.
You can just do a test spray. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That it looks very different from the angle of the camera than from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get it.
Again, because of the color
Yeah.
shift, yeah.
So these, the problem with the color shifts, I have to say, is that so when like Adrian's doing his videos and like having different camera angles and stuff like that, then they kind of look good, like they do their thing. But frequently, like with just photographs and stuff, they don't really do their thing that well.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of miniature photography is just from one angle.
Right. So for these, we just hit them a little bit. And if I really wanted this to like be the effect in like a hardcore version of that color, I'd have to hit it a few times. But I actually don't want that. I really want like these multiple thin layers. And this is like not unusual when it comes to doing natural stuff. We've done this before, trees. Oh, bro, if you went past it here, yeah. We've done it before when we do trees. And it's like this idea that these undertones should always be kind of like showing through and in nature. Even in alien world.
You're basically just adding a bit of shimmer to the pink, the red and the pink.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this is, exactly, yeah. And for you guys at home, I am kind of leaving the periphery of the spore stuff not as shimmered and focusing a little bit more on like the center part. Because, I don't know, that's how this plant grows out, I guess. The shimmering kind of, as the plant goes, the mushroomy spores, I don't know. As it grows older and exposure to the air, it shimmers less. Okay, cool, there we go. So that was fast. We just knocked out, we're not done, but we just knocked out pretty much, I think, almost all the airbrushing. What we have left to do, I'm gonna hand you, Brett, a Cantor Blue, because I have two of them.
Okay.
And what Brett and I have to do now is go back and hit the trunks with Cantor Blue for two reasons. One, and this is what we were talking about. One, we got a lot of overspray on the Cantor Blue from the different flower colors because we sprayed down. So that happened, and we.
So we're just repainting the Cantor Blue. This is the same color we used.
No, we used Night Lord's Blue.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, yeah, but we are also kind of leaving like the underside of the trunks and like areas closer.
Yeah.
The Night Lord's Blue. So we're both highlighting and fixing our mistakes.
In
one
Oh,
step.
I like that. We do the base coat first.
Yeah.
Then we do everything else, and then we come back and do the highlight after the fact.
Yeah.
With that dual purpose.
And the other reason I like to do
clever tip.
The other reason I like to do this for nature stuff is kind of like I was saying earlier. Like, if under the purple flower there's like some purple, that's okay. That's a trick of light or a trick of light, I guess. Nothing, it couldn't be anything else. There's some reason that's happening, right? And that's okay. So if an undertone pokes through on our Cantor Blue, and that undertone matches the flower above it, then I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah.
And again, the big thing we want to make sure we avoid, I think I got it all masked off pretty well, but the big thing we don't want to turn blue is the ruin.
And you want this pretty aggressively on there, right?
Yeah. Here's like the first one.
Gotcha.
Now, is this a good time, Brett, to do fan stuff?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it's on you. You've got like a million, you always have like a million things going on, and I'm like, all right, also do fan stuff.
Let me, well, I want to pay attention to it.
Okay.
And I would like you to also pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So why don't we finish this blue step and then we can do fan
Okay.
stuff in a few minutes.
Yeah. We, as always, have been collecting
Yeah, I can show this overlay.
fan work, yeah.
So what we're about to do is show some projects that you guys have submitted through the Discord. So if you join the Tabletop Titans Discord and then go navigate to the hobby section, there's a couple channels there which are relevant, either hobby progress or terrain or what's the finished products channel?
Well, there's Armies on Parade,
Armies on
and
Parade,
there's
that's what it's
also
called,
like
yeah.
a criticism one where people post stuff that like actively looking for feedback. Either of those. I hunt pretty much in almost all the threads, guys. I will say I don't usually hunt. I did this week actually take a peek in setups.
In hobby setups.
Yeah, people do their setups, and I was like, okay, like I'll take a peek this week and see if anyone has got anything in it. But there wasn't actually any updates from the last time I looked.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I will say that I pretty much hunt in all of the threads for cool stuff, or if Brett does it, same thing.
Yeah, so post up your photos of the hobby projects that you're working on. We'll go through them before each show, and then we compile a montage and we highlight some of your projects, which is super fun. And we really enjoy it, and hopefully you guys too.
I wish
so
it
we'll
was.
do that here in just a second.
Maybe we should do like a real montage. Like I should write up some 80s montage music, and we should. Well, you know what we should do? Every now and then we should do like a super fan.
I'm not going to say no to
a
this.
super fan day where it's like
Where we just
once
that's
every
just
couple
all
months.
we do?
Well, not all we
just
do,
said-
but we do like a
should.
big,
No, we
like
should.
a big one. That's
Like
all
an
we do.
hour long, like that's the whole stream.
Maybe.
I love it.
I'll have like a little montage. Thank you, Ajax. Ajax super chats. He says, Zach, your approach to painting with bright colors resonated with me. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I played my first 2K game with my Death Guard, and people were telling me how much they loved the paint job. It felt way better than the win. Great. Yeah, I will say this is 100% not a brag. I promise I'm not bragging. But I've definitely been playing people before on like a board, and they have like a guard army where they like did a good job, maybe better than me, painting like a camo look.
Oh yeah.
And like kids and like moms come by like at the game store, and like they totally ignore that person's army, and they're like, whoa, look at these guys. And I guess that's kind of what that person wanted, like a camoed look.
Right.
But you're like
Very muted, very subtle,
yeah,
very
I guess you
realistic maybe.
right. I guess you got what you wanted. You know.
It blended right in.
yeah.
Nobody even noticed it was on the table.
And honestly, for me, that's like the number one thing I want. I want like to be at the game store and have like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old like just like staring at the board, like, oh
Right.
my god, this is
This
so
is
cool.
so amazing.
And the mom is like half like annoyed at the amount of money she knows she's gonna have to spend, but also like, well, at least it's not a video game.
Right.
And they start asking you questions. So like anytime an army can like get like that 10-year-old kid's eyes to
Yep.
light up, that's like
Your Tau army does that really well.
that's what I'm going for.
We
Like,
haven't been to any game stores since you started collecting Sam Han, but I imagine it will do the same thing.
just like yeah, make a 10-year-old boy happy like
Yep.
for like bright colors. That's my goal.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
People
Wow,
are
we're
asking about your music writing comment.
Oh.
Yes, Zach is a music composer. That's his
That's
professionally what he does.
that's my real life.
Real life,
Thing, yeah.
IRL.
Awesome. So let's take a look where we're at here.
Yeah.
We're like pretty much done airbrushing. Oh, should we do fan stuff?
Let's do
This is
fan
a good
stuff.
time? Yeah.
Yes, we were waiting until we were done with that blue. Here we go. So these are submitted by you guys. This segment, okay, we didn't actually ask him, but we think John would really like these. This is a Dreadnought, Galatus.
Yeah, and this is I think I'm guessing this person is using this as an Infernal Master,
Yeah, Thousand Suns
which is
model.
cool.
Yeah,
It's not the actual model. The actual model is kind of hard to get right now.
right. Yeah, you need the Hexfire
You have to
box.
buy a whole box.
Yeah, And then
these trees are so
some
good.
Trees. Yeah,
If
these
you're
are the
in
GW trees.
Yeah, if you're in Discord, go check out this guy's trees. It's weird because like he has better pictures.
Yeah.
But I picked that one. This looks familiar, right, Brett?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's like the chapel. That's like we did the AOS train. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I want to come back to this. We're going to come back to this one. This is actually my favorite one right here.
Okay.
But the chapel previously, I can, if you guys don't put your name on it, which maybe you don't want to, I get that, then I almost never remember anyone's name, so I apologize for that. But that chapel, the person said that they were inspired after watching us paint ours, which is always cool.
Train. Yeah.
I don't know that they did it the same way we did it, but it still looks amazing.
Yep.
So awesome. This guy,
Luther.
Yeah, these Ogren.
That's an amazing Ogren.
Yeah, he's got a few.
I love that.
So, and then this guy has his nice, again, many pictures up. I had to pick just one. Super cool. I love white, black, and red together.
It's a great paint scheme.
Soups puts his name on things, and he gets stuff done every week. So
wow.
Soups is
this is a Slaanesh liquor.
There's a liquor. What are they called? Seekers?
Beast.
That is just the beast of Slaanesh. I love liquors.
Yeah, well, we have a local
liquors
guy,
of Slaanesh.
Dunsmore, who plays Slaanesh demons, and he just like all he talks about is the pinchers and the crushers and the liquors.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so these are what are those? Blood ravens?
Are they blood ravens? You know how bad I am.
Looks like blood ravens. I love blood ravens. That's the Dawn of War chapter.
That's the Dawn of War chapter. Yeah,
super. I love that's a great color red.
Yeah. Again, check out more pictures of this tree.
Yeah.
Here's this thing again. I think his, I honestly look nicer than ours because he went and did those stones or that light color.
Yeah. That's a great color.
So this is actually Melody put this one up.
Awesome.
And she based it off of a Maryland blue crab. And she posted a picture of a Maryland blue crab. We talked about this. When were we talking about? Was this last week or was this?
Melody, is your whole army painted like a Maryland blue crabs?
Yeah.
Is that the paint scheme for
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
And it looks great. It really did match the aesthetic of a Maryland blue crab. If you guys don't know what a Maryland blue crab is, because you're not from the East Coast or maybe the South U.S., Southern Gulf Coast, then look it up.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good look. And also they're just delicious, and I love them.
Spartan says it's Blood Angels.
Blood Angels. Okay.
Okay. All right.
There's the liquor.
The liquor. Yeah.
Nice liquor. Super reedy.
I bet that's converted also.
I don't think. I think that's a kit.
What?
I think that's a beast
with the backwards legs too. No. Someone in chat tell us if that's the actual model.
Okay, but I know there's a beast of Slaanesh that looks like that.
Yeah, it looks like it might be. I'm wondering if it has like some of its legs actually backwards. All right, so I see it now. Blood Angels. Yeah. There's a block. Got to be. Okay. Yeah. These trees are amazing. I love the GW tree kit. As expensive as it is, it makes for really good area terrain because it's got like nice crescents that you can form into an actual forest. There's one here that we didn't talk about. The Harlequins. I want to make sure.
Oh, the Harlequins is super good.
Yeah.
There's another one too that I don't think maybe we did or not.
This guy.
This I always forget this name, but this is like the dope guy, like from the Lumineth army,
right?
Which is just like entirely too beautiful of an army.
Just cranking out. Oh yeah, and here we go.
These guys look incredible.
Skyweavers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those look amazing. The fact that there's black lines in between the diamond pattern.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, Harlequins are an interesting army. I don't know that I ever want to paint them.
Broken Jeff said it was actually the model. The back legs are reversed. Okay.
Fiend of Slaanesh. It's a Fiend of Slaanesh, not a. What were we saying? Beast of Slaanesh. Yeah. Friend of Slaanesh.
Beast. Friend of Slaanesh.
Friends of Slaanesh.
Oh my gosh, we did that last night. The Forge Friend.
Oh, Forge.
What was it spelled? With a Forge Fiend. It's actually like the model is a Forge Fiend, but I kept calling it a Forge Friend.
Forge Friend. Okay, we're moving on to brushwork.
Let's do it.
But we have some like kind of nice fun brushwork because a lot of it's not like that crazy. So first step that we get to do is unmask.
Unmask. All right. Yeah. The big reveal.
Big reveals. So I mean, like a lot of this was really like far away from what we were painting. So it's not like it's like, oh my god, but cool. Still, I picked the one that's the least interesting first to do.
We got to save the best for last.
That's true, I guess. Okay, and one of the reasons we do need to unmask is because, as you can see, there are lots of plants all over the ruin, and we got to hand paint that.
I tried airbrushing and I got some overspray, and then that was my realization. I was like, I can't do that.
It's a pick your poison type situation, right? Like you're either cleaning up a lot of airbrush work with probably with more airbrushing and increasingly small amounts of airbrushing or whatever, or you're just getting in and hand painting.
And this is where, if you have the ability, like if you have an airbrush, some people will like get a second airbrush. Like you've got your you have a second airbrush that's fitted with a finer needle. Yeah. That you can switch to do some like really fine detail work.
This might be
a good application for that.
I was thinking about it. I looked at it and I was like, I don't think even.
It's not even fine enough.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna do brush work. I can see a couple places. One place I need to clean up. Boy, Brett, our life has very changed since we got this tiny little trash can to put in between us, huh?
It's amazing.
It's changed our lives.
It's transformative having a garbage can in the hobby studio.
Yeah, we used to just throw the garbage directly on the floor.
And then have to pick it up.
Yeah.
There's like floor garbage.
Okay, I'm just gonna hit a couple of places real quick with anywhere where I see there like too much blue dot on the room. Yeah. Did anything get, how does yours look?
Yeah, I messed it up. Here.
Okay. Here, can I hand you this one to unmask?
Yep.
Okay.
The great unmasking.
You can see I'm using cracked soil. It was our middle color.
Yeah.
Also, aka the color of the thing.
The color of the rune. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be okay. Like it's a little light for down there because mostly we kept that dark, but it's gonna be all right because again, we're going to tint all of this green, and I'll tint extra heavy down there. So, so it'll work out. It'll work out fine.
Thank you, Thomas Greer, for the super chat. Howdy, F3 amigos. I have a love triangle to solve.
Oh boy.
Shelby loves wine and orcs. Jess loves soccer and Eldar. And Araceli loves painting and blood angels. How to choose? What are we choosing between?
Yeah.
What's the choice here? All of those people can love those things.
Yeah, I'm
without needing to make any choices.
Yeah, I guess I need. I guess Thomas.
Like, are you choosing amongst those three individuals, or do they each need to? I guess I need a little more. Info.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's say let's say that like, first of all, oh my god, I don't even know if I feel comfortable answering this.
So there's wine, orcs, soccer, Eldar, painting, and blood angels.
I think the problem is that some of the matches are weird. Like wine is cool, and I like orcs, but I wouldn't want to play orcs. That said, if I could have a partner that plays orcs all the time, that would be fun. That's a fun recurring opponent.
I see.
So I think that might be my pick. Soccer. Thomas, I'm guessing you're American like us since you called it soccer.
Right. That's a good
and
assumption.
we all, as Americans, hate soccer, so we're not going to pick that.
Did you just dump out your? You just did. Okay. Is that too? That I can clean that up.
Nah, we're not even going to do that. Tint's going to.
Okay.
You're never going to see that. Yeah.
You want to put this back in the putty?
Yes, please. And then finally, painting and blood angels. I don't know. I think I'm gonna. I think I would pick the first one because I don't like blood angels, and I don't want to keep playing against blood angels. I have an Eldar army, and I don't like soccer. Soccer's fine, but wine is really like my favorite thing here, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like, you could almost say wine and blood angels,
right?
And I'd pick that.
I guess, like, does Shelby love orcs in that, like, it's a cool army that they play, or is it like, do they like sort of method act orcs all the time?
Oh, that's maybe too much.
Are they just very sort of aggressive and hyper and disregard personal property and
then
and space bubbles?
Yeah.
I don't know. Orcs are a fun opponent, though.
So here's our next step. Thomas, I don't know if that's an answer that you're looking for, but it is an answer. Okay, we've got a little hand painting to do, Brett, and it's pretty simple, pretty easy. I can show, if we zoom here for a sec.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. All I'm doing is using Cantor Blue, which is the color we just airbrushed. And a little while ago, we talked about the difference between dry brushing versus over brushing.
Yes.
And what these two terms mean.
What is the difference between those two?
So dry brushing is you're really removing the paint from your brush and just like largely tinting something and kind of hoping it catches edges. Whereas overbrushing is more like what you guys see me doing now. So I'm putting paint on my brush, and I'm actually going to mostly, this is why people love GW kits, I'll be honest with you guys. The roots on this thing are raised enough that you can, Brett, did you find a good brush? Something
this
good
one
enough?
looks fine.
Yeah, that should work. That you can really just kind of drag the side of your brush along and catch the roots. And I'm actually not worried about the coverage here. Like one kind of nice layer of Citadel Air, again, that's the consistency I like, is gonna be enough. And we're gonna get those undertone highlights again as well because we have the bone color underneath. So I'm just kind of going.
And we're gonna go over this with a tint later,
Also gonna go
which
over
is gonna get in the recesses.
Yeah.
And is gonna sort of mask the transition between the blue root and the brown ruin.
Yep.
And so you actually also don't really have to be super picky about, a really crisp transition between the two because the tint is gonna help us there later.
Yes.
And I think, we've talked about this in the past, but I think one of the keys to fast and good looking terrain is knowing where you can take shortcuts and understanding, okay, my process is XYZ, and I know that in this subsequent step, it's going to cover up the mistake or the shortcut that I'm taking right now, and so that allows me to take this shortcut, save a little bit of time, and not have it affect the end result.
Exactly. I think I like, honestly, that's the way I paint really whenever I do a project, whether it's my models or my or terrain, like a board. I don't get going until I really have like a process, and the process builds in for like trying to come out looking pretty good. I don't typically, I don't think I have the skill set or the patience level to get like that super crazy dope Instagram level painters. Maybe I could try doing that, but I feel like at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I'd like, I don't know, have like I'm getting ready.
Two models done, and you'd be frustrated.
I was gonna say I'm starting a Seraphon army after my T Sons, and I'd say like after like the month of November, I'd have like a skink done, and I'd be like, yeah, this is not gonna work, right?
This is not gonna work if my goal is to create a model that I'm gonna enter a competition in, then great. But if your goal is to end up with a painted army that you're gonna play with on the tabletop, like those are two very different activities.
Or terrain that Adrian's gonna smash to pieces anyway.
That's right.
But no, it is a personal goal of mine to get better at brushwork, but and always get better at different things. But for the most part, I like to have steps, and like exactly what Brett's saying. I love when I can find one step that the mistakes don't have to be explicitly cleaned up. They get cleaned up by the next step. The next step, yeah. And that might mean actively cleaned up by the next step. Like that's a good example of that is like rust and like that kind of weathering. Like, oh crap, I painted something stupid here. This clearly looks painted. Well, that's okay. This is a place where I can just weather over top of and cover up my mistakes.
Sure.
Or it might mean like today where we're just gonna blast this thing with Bealtan green, and all of the liquid is gonna fall into the recesses and sit on top of the vines as well. And exactly like what Brett just said, it's gonna like smooth the transition, and it's gonna, from a distance anyway, play with the eye and be like, well, I kind of know where the vine starts and the ruin ends, or the other way around, I guess. But also, I don't exactly know until I look up close.
yeah, it's gonna come out great.
So there you go. That's how long. I'm not a super awesome brush painter. I think I'm okay. That's how long that took to clean all that up and to put that on there like that. Okay, first one done. We've got only really one more because the one, Brett, you're doing. Oh no, it does have a lot. Never mind.
This one has a lot.
I was gonna say that one does have a lot. Thank you, Matt Baker. Just finished my 10-year-old son's that first game of Kill Team. Wait, 10-year-old son. I'm thinking he's 1,000 Sons. Just finished my 10-year-old son's first game of Kill Team. 2 at friendly local gaming store. He was to draw 2 stealth suits. How would you use them to teach building and painting? He was drawn to stealth suits. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Matt. I did not read your question before I read your question. If you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
You didn't pre-read?
I didn't pre-read. You got to pre-read.
New mistake.
Yeah, you got to pre-read.
Yeah, you can always tell. I always make mistakes too.
Yeah,
especially with the army list.
Yeah, when I'm producing over there, I always pre-read. Well, no, I don't always pre-read. Sometimes I get cocky and I'm like, all right, here we go. Okay.
Stealth suits.
My 10-year-old son's first game of Kill Team.
And
so
he's drawn to. He wants to paint stealth suits.
It's funny because I thought Matt was making like 1,000 Sons joke and just
Right.
calling them 10-year-old sons.
Yeah.
But he's not making that joke because that's not a joke. It's not funny.
Right. But he actually has a 10-year-old son.
He actually has a 10-year-old son.
Right.
Okay, that's funny. Not that he has a 10-year-old son, but that
you
so wildly misinterpreted it. I think, Brett, you and I, well, we have different stealth suits. I think I've often said that the Tau XV25 stealth suit is my favorite model in
That's
the game.
right.
And I have often said that it's one of the best models. It's one of my favorite models to paint. And one of the reasons it's one of my favorite models to paint is with minimal work, it comes together and looks good.
Yeah.
With a little more work, it can look even better, and the sky's kind of the limit. And I haven't gone this far, but and you're probably not what your son's going to do, right? Since he's just getting into it. But down the road, you can do really cool stuff, and people do lots of wacky stuff with those.
Yeah, there's a lot of like cool painting techniques that you can explore with stealth suits. There's like shimmer effects that you can do. You can sort of paint the body like. People will do like transitions where like there's a part of it that's actively being camouflaged and then a part of it that's not, and then there's like this energy transition in between. Yeah, if you do some Google image searching, you'll see some amazing examples of what can be done if you want to sort of flex your painting muscles with stealth suits. Now maybe that's not appropriate for 10-year-old who's just getting started.
Well, I think it's cool to show them, right?
It's cool to show him, get him excited. Yeah.
To show what the unit can do, and I don't know.
Point.
You and I at one point were 10-year-old boys. Like, you want to be like, oh my god, I'm going to paint this thing because it's cool, and in the game it's cool, and it can turn invisible and stuff like that.
Right.
So here's what I would say, Matt. Brett, sorry, were you?
Nope.
Okay.
I was going to tell a funny story, but it's unrelated to Matt. Won't care about it.
Okay. Well, okay. So what I think I would say about stealth suits and using them to teach painting is, again, it's a great size model. So here's sort of what I would say. I don't know your son, of course, but as his parent, I would ask myself, I would say, is my son going to have the patience to first, patience or energy-based kind of a kid, right? So if they want to put the whole thing together, then paint it, I think that's fun for people, right?
Yep.
The patience aspect, and if you think your kid would be patient enough, as a teacher, I would say, well, look, ultimately, it's going to be easier to paint. You're going to save yourself frustration a little bit down the road, and give yourself a little more options if we leave certain parts of it unassembled.
Yeah, if you do sub-assemblies.
And I think there's only really the Tau stealth suit's perfect for it because he's kind of got that big main body part. And if you look at any of the way that this is painted by Games Workshop, like their white Tau Studio Army, look at the white part. Any of the white parts you can leave off. You can leave his shoulder pads off and leave his kind of like big torso and the part that goes back off from the arms and the legs, which oftentimes are painted black.
Yeah.
But, it's also very possible that a kid just wants to put it all together and paint it that way, and I think that works too. So I would say it's a good place to be like sub-assemblies. It's also a good place to show how you can, let's say you guys prime the model black. Well, and the traditional way is that they leave like the arms and the legs black and maybe just do a little bit of like light, like dry brushing to edge highlight it, which is an easy kind of beginning skill. I would use like Mechanica Standard Gray.
Yeah.
And then you can really say, now the part that's going to be hard and the part that we're going to actually have to sit and kind of paint and do layer painting is, you know, all of this main body part, right?
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't do white because it's hard, but whatever color they want, it gives you this one, you've knocked out all the black parts. So like a bunch of the model's done, you can set that aside and say, that's done. Now we just have to do this. And it's a great place to build up from colors. So you can do like, if you want, like my tower green, right? I actually start with this dark green, and then I go to the second color, and then I do a little bit of a highlight color. And I don't know, I think it's a great size model for it. So I think it's an awesome size. And Kill Team is
Kill Team is
perfect.
They're good in Kill Team, and you can get started with playing with them right away without needing to paint an entire army worth of guys.
Yep.
I will say stealth suits are interesting because they're often used by Tau players to, in addition to like the auxiliaries and stuff, to sort of showcase a different paint style or look. The stealth units will, and the ghost keel and stuff like that will be used for that. So a lot of times what you'll see Tau players do is if they have an accent color in their army, let's say so I'll just speak about my army is gray and orange, and the primary color is gray and the accent color is orange. And then what you do is, if sort of a typical infantry person is like 80% gray and 20% orange, you flip that ratio for the stealth unit. And so the stealth suit is 80% orange and 20% gray.
Yeah.
And so it's a fun sort of different exercise in painting. It feels different than the rest of your army. Do you want me to give you this back? I just took it because you're doing other things.
Can you finish it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If you want to move on.
Yeah. So okay, we had to knock that step out to get to the tinting step. We're gonna tint. Matt, I hope that helps. By the way. And that
we did a lot of rambling.
We did a lot of rambling, but we did find out you weren't making a Thousand Suns joke and literally talking about your 10-year-old.
And we also think that stealth suits are a cool unit and that you can do a lot with them. And we're excited that your son is interested in painting warhams. Yeah,
and actually, you know what, Matt? I've done a lot of teaching, and one thing I would say is, it's literally what you guys see me doing here right now. Is I would, if you haven't painted a Tau stealth suit on your own first, I'd do it on your own first, like away from your son.
Oh, that's a good suggestion.
Always, yeah. That's going to be, I'm not a parent, but I have taught a lot, and like if you don't have the process and you don't know the answers, I don't know. Kids can tell. I think Matt probably knows that as the father of a 10-year-old. Okay, now next step here. We have some really cute little, this is really precarious.
Oh
okay.
My gosh.
We have some really cute, I just like noticed one spot right before I started airbrushing that I had to hit with Cantor Blue.
Okay.
Cuteness I was talking about. We have some very cute little color areas we're gonna hit to, like I said, bring some life to the Deathworld Forest. We're gonna do a little bit of interesting orange spots and stuff like that. But before we do that, we're going to tint first because I actually don't want the cute little things we're about to do all over these plants to get tinted. I want them to pop
a
little more. So that's unusual for me. That's unusual when I do terrain.
That we're doing tinting not as the last step.
Exactly.
We're doing it as the second to last step.
So this entire board, if you watched last week, is being tinted in Bealtan Green. We talk about tinting all the time. We've tinted in Anthonian Camo Shade. It's a Citadel wash. We've tinted in Nuln Oil.
Yep.
I don't typically tint in any of the browns, Flesh Shade or Agrax or any of those, but I could. I just haven't yet.
Right.
So here we go, tint time. And you're gonna see this thing start to look old real fast. Now I'm being not that careful with how I tint the blue because I don't really care because the green doesn't do a lot. It does a little to the blue. I'm not tinting the purple flower, by the way. Again, we're leaving like the flowers and the cool part of the plant very much on its own, but we are tinting the blue part. And you can see I kind of pick and choose some areas where I tint. I like to not hit every area on the ruin. I'm gonna come a little bit from the top like that. And the tinting is, for me, I don't know, it's kind of the process I use. I think of it as like bringing the whole board together.
Yeah, it's the common factor.
Yeah. And so by not tinting the flowers, that's quite a statement, really. We're saying that the flowers have their own kind of thing going on. They don't need to be tinted.
They do what they want.
Yeah, oh, I can tint these guys. No runes on this one, but still want to tint. And I'm not tinting, oh, by the way, I'm also not necessarily tinting up the whole way. I'm tinting only about 2/3 of the way. Remember, this is like a water board, and we are going to actually put a Vallejo gloss varnish on the bottom of all these models. Like will be the equivalent of maybe like a meter up on them, to kind of show like the water line.
The tide line,
The tide line, yeah.
I love that idea. Using the difference in finish, gloss versus matte, as another knob that we can turn to express kind of what's happening here.
Knob that we can turn. I love that phrase. Perfect. Tinting. That
looks great.
Okay, and one more to tint. Man, I love the pink. I love the pink leaves. I think are my favorite. They look kind of gross. They look like concerning, you know. They look very fungal to me in general, like mold, like spore,
right.
like that.
Yeah, these trees do kind of look fungal in nature.
And the addition of the color shift on him, like almost gives them more of like a wet look.
Right.
That I'm into.
Yeah, you can almost imagine each one of the little metallic particles in the color shift paint is like a spore.
Yeah.
Reflecting the light a certain way.
Okay, now that we're tinted, we've got a few more steps left.
Yeah,
we're
just
actually
got a
pretty
few
close,
left, right?
which is cool because I'm happy to say that if you do pick up this kit, which again, I don't know, I do feel a little bad. We've had this kit and we want to get this board ready, and I'm like, well, I'd like to show people how we do that, but unfortunately, it's currently available for $500 on eBay for like 4 trees. Not really worth it. You and I have talked endlessly about how I don't get eBay pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I get it. It kind of involves being a jerk. But it's weird because
supply and demand.
It's weird because I don't always think that people are aware of the fact that like it will get re-released.
Yeah.
And no one's going to. I know. I'm pretty sure on chat I've ranted about. There's a box on like a Start Collecting Eldar, like one of the big boxes they used to release. That somebody it was MSRP for like $210 like 8 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And somebody keeps asking for $500 on eBay.
Yeah.
And I checked again like last week and it's still there and it's the same person. It's just like there's a $500 box of Eldar for at least a year now. And like I don't think that's how supply and demand works.
Yeah, there's some eBayers that are just like, maybe there are dumb people out there and I'm just gonna put this thing up there.
Yeah. If he doesn't need the money, he's just like,
yeah,
you know, maybe I'll get it or not. It's cool. Yeah. Okay, so our last step, we do have a couple kind of fun things to do on the flowers. Actually, the pink plants are done. That's how they look. That's I think why I like them. They're so gross, just like that.
Yeah.
But we do have a little bit of work to do on the green trumpet flower, and we do have a little bit of work to do on the purple flower.
Yep.
The purple flower is actually gonna be super easy. And we have one more thing to do, which is that the blue the blue kind of wood, you said you don't know if it's wood, I don't know if it's wood. It has mushrooms on it,
We need to do some highlighting,
And,
pick out some details.
Right, we're gonna pick out some details. So it has mushrooms on it. It has spines on it.
Yeah.
And it has some kind of vines on it, and the vines are the ones we just painted. So I'm gonna pass one to Brett. Brett, we'll do an identical one.
Okay.
And let's start with, spines and vines, which rhymes. Pretty good. Super Reedy if you're out there. Although he's really more into puns, not rhyming. I mean, rhyming isn't like, you don't have to be clever to rhyme. You just say the words at once. Okay. Anyway, spines and vines. So our spines and our vines are going to be one of my favorite Turbodor colors. This is the first Turbodor color I ever start using. Blue raspberry. It's a color shift from blue to purple. Okay.
Oh, and our two colors on this model are blue and purple.
Are blue and purple.
So it's perfect.
I am not going to put this on the wet palette because I like its consistency out of the bottle.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put it on the paper. And you'll, Brett, observe, as you observed earlier, that it looks white.
Right.
So all the spines get a blue raspberry coat. This brush is a little damp. Which just goes like this. Nice and easy. The spines are super easy to paint. Again, you're almost just like overbrushing. And you see it picks up right away. So I go through and I knock out the spines first. And there's a lot, you gotta get both sides.
Okay, yeah.
Easy, right?
It is. I sort of feel like, again, we talked about how the color shift paints tend to go on better over light colors.
Mm-hmm.
I can sort of, wow, this doesn't look anything like the color that I'm picking up off the palette.
Which looks
like
white,
once I
right?
put it on, it looks blue and purple. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
I will say this. The blue raspberry, I feel like is one of their best functioning paints. Some of their paints, you've got to play with it a little bit and finesse. I've done a number of things with blue raspberry now, and I'm usually pretty happy with it. It comes out of an airbrush amazingly. I love this color. And you guys at home, I mean, I can see on the camera, it just like pops like crazy, these little tiny spines. Okay, so that's the spines. While we've got it on a brush, the vines. Here's where things are a little different. You can see on this model, there are vines kind of all over the place. I actually don't hit all of it. I'm kind of selective. And again, I'm just using the edge of my brush and picking out a few areas.
So you're like edge highlighting, but not everything.
Yeah, like really just like tapping the side of my brush. Wherever you touch with this, it's gonna come out like crazy. So be selective. You don't do everything. If you do everything, it's gonna, I don't know, like I've definitely seen some people like really get in and paint this like it's a model, not a piece of terrain. It doesn't look good. It ends up having a lot of brown and green, and like you're really kind of just like looking at these, I'll say this. If you're gonna do that, then do that. You know what I mean? Like then you really got to do it.
You're all in on it.
Then you're like, again, you're like Instagram level kind of a guy, or you're really, yeah, you're all in on it, right? So if you're going all in, go all in. Otherwise, kind of be selective about where you're picking out details. And just like that, that's it. That one's done. We will have to get the mushrooms. Sorry. I mean, it's done with the blue raspberry spines and vines. It's kind of fun to paint the spines, huh?
Yeah, the vines are very satisfying too, again, because like you said, all you have to do is just kind of touch the vine and it really gets picked up. The paint really gets grabbed.
Blue raspberry is so fun. I love this color. I did a Necron kill team in this color.
You did what?
I have a Necron
That sounds amazing.
kill team in this color. I was
Do
kind
you
of
have photos of that?
I do. Yeah. Of course, I can also show you in real life at some point. But yeah, I thought I did. Maybe not.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I toyed with doing a whole Necron army in that color, but then I ultimately decided to do Eldar instead, and not use Turbodor. Maybe one day.
Was this Indominus Necrons you were contemplating?
Well, when that box came out, I almost like rekindled and picked it back up again.
Right.
But it was before that.
Gotcha.
And then I was kind of just like, I don't really think the army speaks to me.
Yeah.
In a number of different, for a number of reasons. They're cool. I love Necrons, but as far as is an army I want to play.
Yeah, there's a big difference between being like, that's a cool army, and being like, that's a cool army that I want to invest multiple hundreds of dollars and months of my life into turning into, reality.
That's right. That's exactly it. And, I was like, look, I've already got a very shooty army. I know that they are not purely quite as shooty as Tau, and I know they have a little more close combat and stuff, which is fun and cool, but I don't know. It just ultimately didn't really go anywhere other than the kill team.
That's fine.
I really love the flyers, and I thought they would look cool with the blue raspberry.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say, we kind of talked about this before, is that one of the problems with, like, for me with metallics and color shifts is that they really take over the process in this way that's like, oh, you're painting me color shift now? Well,
right.
Go ahead and paint me color shift and
right.
call it done. Like, they sort of they limit, like, cool things you can do, like,
yeah. The cool thing is the color shift.
The cool thing is the color shift, and that's it.
We were talking about stealth suits earlier. Like, there's so many different cool things you could do with stealth suits, but if you choose to paint them color shift, that's the only one that anyone's going to notice.
Whereas, like, look at this now, like, right? Like, because we were selective about how we use the color shift, it's just part of the equation of, like, of what's cool, right?
Do you want to put that on the glam cam?
Sure.
I can show you where we're at now.
Oh, actually, I think the ones, I'll put the two you and I did already.
So a little bit of a mid-process status report. Here's where we're at.
Yeah, pretty late actually, because all we have left to do on these guys, honestly, is the mushrooms and the purple flower stuff, which are both going to be orange.
Can I tell you what this color shift reminds me of?
What's that?
It reminds me of, like, these vines are bioluminescing.
Yes.
Like the tree trunk is one plant, and then the vines are another plant. And the vines are glowy vines.
Yeah.
And they don't just, like, glow everywhere. It's, like, very Avatar.
Yeah.
Those, like, glowy things everywhere.
Now I will show you. Well, that's good. That's a good look. I'll show you guys while we have the glam cam up. We got to bring these guys back because we have to work on them. I'll show you guys something else I kind of whipped up for the board. Here, I'll set this on the glam cam, Brett. Okay. This is you might have seen the show link. We talked about a statue head. And so this is also going on this new board. It's kind of small. I wasn't able to get this statue super large for a price that I thought was appropriate. Lots of times, and Brett can speak to this too, but lots of times if you go on, like, Etsy and somebody has a 3D printed thing and you ask them if they can make it bigger, they can do it.
Yeah, it's just they're just applying a scaling factor to the print before they print it. And maybe they use a little more material and they charge you, if you want 20% bigger, they charge you 20% more, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, exactly. This one was the price was, like, getting kind of out of control for getting a little larger. Which he's got a system that he uses, and it is what it is. And I was like, maybe I'll just keep it small. This is, like, getting a little too big, too much.
We talked about this, and my theory was that maybe his machine doesn't go that big. And so he was then having to, like, he wanted to offer a complete service. And so he wasn't just saying no to you, but instead he was, like, outsourcing it to, another company who was then going to print it, and then he was going to resell it to you. That's the only reason I could think why somebody would, the pricing would scale non-linearly like that. But.
Yeah. We put the guy's Etsy link on there though, and he's got some cool stuff on there. So I would definitely check it out.
He's got an awesome store.
I don't recall his name. The guy I normally use, well, actually
Terrainify.
That's right. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the guy I normally use is, well, you now, Brett.
Yeah.
But the other guy I use is I think Dragon. I want to say Dragon Forge. I know he's based out of Michigan, and I know his actual name is Spyros. And
that's a pretty cool actual name.
well, it's like a Greek name, right?
Yeah.
If that's a handle or his name. But anyway, he's super cool, and he's the one that did the giant golden like lady statue for me, really big.
The Monument City lady.
Yeah, because that statue is like a little D&D, like you go into a dungeon and there's like a life-size statue of that.
It's like it was like 2 inches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, there's the head. You can see it's got the tinting, it's got the vines. We're going to use a little bit of the vines today as well, by the way, just to add to some of the ruins here selectively. No, I guess bioluminescence is kind of the look.
I like it.
I knew there was something that I liked about it and looked right, but I guess I hadn't thought that that's probably what it was. Yeah, fun look. And again, actually not that hard to do. Like it goes a long way, but really it's like not that skillful, right? We're just kind of dragging brushes across particular areas.
Yeah, and it like you were saying, it looks better if you don't do all of it.
Yeah. You want to just
it's sort of weird.
Right.
But trust the process.
Yeah, that's a big part of doing terrain. Actually, it's kind of funny. Adrian used that term on me the other day when I forget what I was doing. Oh, the stuff last week that we did. I actually was like a lot of my way through the Exodite huts. I was like, I think I'm ruining this kit. But then like you get to 1 or 2 points where you're like, oh my God, wait, I think it's coming together suddenly.
I think it's looking amazing.
And then you're like, cool, there it is. And also you also have to trust in the home, the final version, right? Like when this is on a board, covered with all kinds of stuff around it, and
that one's done, right?
You got your moss on there. Yeah, I think I might have forgotten the spines on one.
Oh, okay.
Can you
this guy?
Can you give me some spine support here?
Give you some spine support.
When you really kind of like get everything together and add the moss, whatever
together.
it is, right? Yeah, it can come together. So I would say that to anybody who's like a little nervous about starting a board, like kind of trust your process and pick a color palette. Pick out what it is you want to do, like what you want on the board, and pick a color palette, and keep going. And start pretty soon. I actually told Andrew, I think tomorrow when I come in, he won't be here. Those guys are all getting ready to go to Goonhammer, right? But tomorrow when I come in, I'm actually probably going to set up before the game this board and see where I'm at.
Ooh, tasty.
Yeah, I mean we won't use it for tomorrow's game because it's not ready, but I want to see what else needs to be added to it, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a few things. I have some MDF stuff that I'm not in love with. And I'm kind of wondering if I can, at this point, just get away with...
Oh, without the MDF.
Yeah, maybe. Because I don't, again, I don't love the MDF, but I might love the MDF, like I said, after I...
Yeah, after it gets laid out next to the rest of all of it.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Spines.
Spines are complete.
Spines are done. So we've got one thing left, Brett, which is mushrooms.
We're going to do some mushrooms.
Yeah, we're going to do some mushrooms.
All right. On air, we're going to do some mushrooms.
We're going to do some mushrooms.
That's, man.
Not for kids. I selected not for kids.
Not kid-friendly stream.
Okay. Mushrooms, pretty funky. Again, oh my God, I'm not even trying to, at this point. Okay, we're going to use, this is not the original one I did, but it actually looks better than the one I did months ago. Mm-hmm. This is Reaper Explosion Orange. I could put this on the wet palette. We could share it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a crappy brush, and we're really just going to kind of dry brush the area where the mushroom lives.
Yep.
First with orange.
Okay.
And we're doing orange not the Adrian way, which is the right way to do orange. It's the way to do orange when you really want something to be orange. But we kind of don't want this to be that orange. We just want it to imply orange.
We wanted to add some of the orange tint to whatever's underneath it.
Exactly. So that's why we're putting orange directly over top of a dark color. And you can see we get this kind of like, that's not that nice of an orange, but that's what we want. And when we're done with the orange, we're also then going to hit this the same way, real quick with shell shock, which is the color shift.
Oh, so this is also a multi-step process.
And this one's also a multi-step process, but both steps are pretty quick, and there aren't too many mushrooms on these. So again, it's about like not painting a piece of terrain like you'd paint a model. Like, okay, now I got to do his feet, now I got to do a shoulder pad, make sure everything's covered in paint, nice and neatly, but more so about finding details that you want to pick out. I think you could skip the mushrooms if you wanted to. Like if you were.
I don't think so.
No,
I think these trunks look a little too homogeneous, and picking out the mushrooms adds a lot.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that. Well, look, like I said, we're not skipping the mushrooms.
If you want to, don't do it.
Yeah.
It looks way better. Totally worth it.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's it though, right? Like it looks better when you don't skip them. There's no disputing from me there.
Sure.
I guess what I mean is, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, I'm along the this is where my paint tolerance ends, or I'm out of time, or I just need to get things on the table.
I get that. Also, don't skip the mushrooms.
Don't skip the mushrooms. So I agree. I actually agree with that. Overall, I would not skip the mushrooms. Then we're going to do the inside of the flowers, which is also going to be quick. So we're pretty close to the end here, but I will say this: the inside of the flowers is kind of a place where we're like I said, we're doing some cute things, but you could really do all kinds of cute things. And like even the mushrooms, right? We're gonna hit the mushrooms with a color shift.
I'm gonna zoom in on you a little bit. Zach.
Okay, we're gonna hit the mushrooms with a color shift here, and it's also gonna add a lot. Okay.
You know what I like about this sort of dry brush that we're doing with the orange is the orange color is getting. I'm intentionally sort of over dry brushing, fuzzying it. Yeah, and it almost gives a little OSL kind of effect.
Yeah, exactly. Which adds in with the bioluminescence.
Like the mushrooms are themselves bioluminescent, but in a slightly different tint.
Yes.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah, I guess. Geez, Brett, thank you for picking up on that, because I guess I didn't mention that. Like, yes, it's okay to get them a little fuzzy. Like here's the one I did earlier today. And you can see it once we add the color shift, it's going to give it even more of a little bit of bioluminescence to it. But yeah, it definitely is okay to get a little bit of a fuzzy look with the orange.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of lightens up the area.
And this one with like the big Illuminati symbol.
Yeah. The Illuminati symbol.
Has like only like 2 mushrooms on it. Is this one? Okay, that one's good.
Illumin Eldari symbol.
Yeah, the Eldar Illuminati.
The Eldar Nadi symbol.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put this guy to chill out, and then I'm grabbing my friend Shell Shocked again. This is the same color we used on the top of the slimy pink leaves.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, oh my God.
Lid came off.
The lid came off on the inside. That's okay.
It's a lot of shell shocked.
It's a lot of shell shocked. I don't need any more after today, but I feel a little weird.
Yeah, and there's no real way to put it back in the bottle.
No, we can do this.
Zach is challenge accepted here.
Yeah.
Let's do a play-by-play of Zach's repair trying to get this paint back in the bottle, because this paint's like $8 a bottle, right?
It's like $6, but still, it's a lot. Yeah. I don't know. It's not even that. Like, oh man, yeah, I'm not gonna get this. It's like too runny. It's not even that. Like, I forget when I was saying this.
I took my dropper bottle home.
That's okay. I forget when I was saying this, but it's almost more like, I just don't want to run out of it when I need it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like not worth it. Well, there we go, guys. Okay, that's all right. We've got this here now. That does happen sometimes with dropper bottle.
Emergency repair. I'm super impressed that you got any back in the bottle, Zach. I thought it was a lost cause.
Yeah,
you made it work.
I want some of it. Okay, so then this is really a true dry brush, right? We've been talking about overbrushing versus dry brushing today. This is a true dry brush because we're just gonna kind of hit the mushrooms a little bit with this shell shocked, which is like this green pink color shift.
So I guess I would not have guessed that Turbo Dork made a good dry brush paint, but I think you're saying that it does, right?
At least here I like it. I'm trying to think where else I've used it as a dry brush.
All right, so it's this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what that looks like.
Find.
And what are the two colors in this color shift?
It's like pink and green.
Pink and green. Okay.
Which is very similar to Mother of Pearl, which is what our Exodite huts were.
Right.
So we're like reusing a lot of the same kind of color themes for this board, which is always a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I think this again, like it doesn't change the look of it, really. It still looks orange or whatever it looked like after we applied the orange.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks that color. It just has a bit more pop.
Exactly, yeah.
I wonder, we talked about using gloss varnish. I wonder if you could dry brush or edge highlight with gloss varnish.
Yeah, it would give like a slimy kind of a look.
An interesting effect. Not do the entire gem, but do like an edge highlight on something like a mushroom.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a good look.
After airbrushing the matte varnish on the entire model.
Yeah, they give it kind of like a slimy look.
Right.
So while Brett finishes up there,
okay,
I'm going to do the thing I'm going to do on the green trumpet flowers. I think I'll just do one of them on stream today, so we can get to the others. Well, actually, it's not like it's that much left. But with the green trumpet flower, one of the things I do, if you guys want to see, I think they're all. I think I got.
You did them all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just show this to you guys real quick. One of the things I do here with the green trumpet flower, there's a bunch of like little dots on the inside, and I just kind of load up my paint with the orange we've been using, and I just like dot some of the dots.
Oh, nice.
Not all of them.
That's a great effect.
But just some of them. And again, this is the part that attracts the insect, right?
Yep.
So just hit a couple little orange dots. It's pretty subtle.
We only have one of those, right?
We only have one, so it's almost done. Now, Brett, if you want, what you can do, here, I'll pass this to you, using the orange, literally all we do is a very dry brush all over the purple flowers.
Purple flower.
Yep.
Got it.
And this is sort of like the thing I was talking about earlier in the stream, guys. I was saying like what you're doing here is like you're making an alien look by dry brushing or adding basically doing a dry brush highlight, like a true dry brush, not a over brush, a true dry brush highlight over top of a color that it doesn't really belong highlighting.
Yeah.
But if you look at flowers, like tropical flowers,
they're so weird.
Even non-tropical flowers, right? Yeah, they do
Flowers
this
are so
all
weird.
the time. Yeah, like if you really look at a flower, like I've always thought a rose was red, and it is. But if you sit there and look at it, like wow, there's a lot of purple and white and yellow inside of it. Right? They're like crazy.
There's veins and there's
right.
Yeah, and then like look at it in a different spectrum of light, UV or even they look even weirder.
Now, if you wanted to, you guys see the little trumpet plant. All the way down in there is a little hole. You could do something cute there too, but it's so deep down there, and just like the way the terrain piece sits, it's just not something I have a lot of faith in, like showing up well. So, but you could, like I could go in there with like pink and then do maybe a ghost tint shiny, or like blood for the blood god, something kind of shiny and yucky in there.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't, I've tried it and it just doesn't come out that much. Okay, so now that's the first part. So we've got the green that attracts one type of dino creature, flying alien creature. We've got the orange, which attracts like a smaller creature. And now we want something to make the claws pretty. And so again, Turbo Dork, this color is called Bubblegum Crisis. And it is very pink, and I like it. Here it is.
What is that a reference to?
I don't know. Somebody,
is there like
somebody
a
chat's
song or some pop culture reference?
They always are, and this is one like I don't know. I feel like it might be an anime.
Anime, yeah. I mean, that would make sense.
But I don't know anime well enough. If John or Bridger were around, they're really the anime guys.
They'd give us a giant eye roll.
They give us a giant...
Judge us silently, and then...
Well, not John. He's a sweetheart, but Bridger would for sure.
Bridger would.
Thank you, Chris. Chris says, hey, working on some Asuryani bone reapers, which is awesome because they just got like the FAQ, they need it to actually be able to be played in this edition almost without like auto losing. So congratulations on that, Chris. Doing kind of a bloody red for the cloth energy. The order is Mephiston Red, then Agrax, then Drybrush Wild Riders. Tips on making it a little more bloody, maybe Ardcoat. That's a good question. So if you really want it to be kind of vibrant, bloody, I think, yeah, so if you want it to kind of have a wet look, I might, there's a couple ways you could do this. Well, okay, so you could just do a gloss at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's actually necessarily what you're saying, Chris, that you want it to just like look glossy or...
You know, like people do this thing where they paint like blood spatters on their models or like on the swords or, you know, on the armor or whatever. I think he's asking about tips for that.
For the cloth? So doing kind of a bloody red for the cloth energy? Chris, if you're still in...
A little more bloody. Maybe Ardcoat. So he's asking about like a varnish. Well, I'm going to assume that you're asking about, yeah, feel free to add additional detail. But I'm gonna start by assuming that maybe you're looking for tips on doing like a blood effect. And yeah, I think, so one thing you could do is you can add gloss medium to your paint. So Vallejo sells and other companies sell gloss medium, which you can paint on top of like a gem to make it glossy after you've matte varnished it. But you can also just add it to paint to make the paint glossy. And then you effectively have made a glossy version of whatever paint color you want. So that's the thing you can do.
I like, so yeah, I see something you mentioned, blood for the blood god.
Yeah.
What I
This
actually
is like a technical paint.
Yeah, this is a Citadel technical. What I actually like is Minotaur makes this line called Ghost Tints, and they're red ghost tint. I think they have a couple, but they have one that is like something blood, and it just looks like blood. That's what I use on my Chris. If you saw any of the ogres I painted,
Yeah.
the Beastclaw Raiders, that's what I used on them. And I really like that a lot. I think I like that, for whatever reason, I like the way it plays around a little bit more than Blood for the Blood God.
Interesting.
I think there's something about Blood for the Blood God that's a little too thick for me. Although all of these styles of paints are thick, like the gem paints are thick too.
Yeah, they're all kind of a gel.
Exactly, gel is a good word. Somebody in chat,
glaze.
Yeah, used that word too. So here's the other thing you could do. After you've done all of this process that you're describing, Chris, you could take one of these paints, like Blood for the Blood God, or the one that I'm talking about, the Ghost Tint, the Minotaur Ghost Tint. You could take it, and you could basically. I probably start by doing a test. Always do tests. Do it on paper, right? Print your spray your process off on like a note card or something, and what you would then do is dilute it. I'd say like 2 to 1, and really carefully and thinly apply it. But you have to be careful because that stuff, like it can get, especially after you've thinned it, it can get real streaky and real kind of goopy. So sort of like when we did gems last week, be going so that you can get the goop and the streak off of the cloth.
Right.
So like if it's a loincloth, you're going to go down and pull off of it. And that'll kind of give it like a vivid, bloody type look. There's one step I'm realizing you and I forgot to do. And by you and I mean really me. And it's pretty easy. You'll notice that some of the flowers are a little shinier than others.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that we finished already.
Yep.
And that's because we've got to give it a quick spray with the Citadel Eidolon Purple Clear.
Oh,
so
nice.
let me have the 2 we didn't do, which are those 2 real quick. Which means, sorry, Brett, we might have to... No, I don't think we're going to have to do orange again. Yeah, we're good. So I think Brett's idea is good. Like if you've got a lot of it, it might not be bad to try to make basically a version of this paint that you want.
Right.
Because so with Brett's method, you could kind of make your own glossy...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be whatever colors GW
Right.
makes the technical paint in.
Yeah, so you take your Mephiston red, Chris, and you start mixing in, do like a big batch.
Yeah.
And Chris, please do post a progress pic. That'd be awesome. Do like a big batch of the Mephiston red.
Yeah.
And then you'd be starting with that bloody look, and then you'd be layering stuff over top of it. That could be a good look. With the suggestion I'm giving you, you're going to do your whole process, and then you're going to put that. Maybe try not dilute it at first, but I think I would dilute it over everything you did.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, what you guys saw me just do right there. I did kind of mention it, but I know I talked quick through it. This Games Workshop is a line called of air paints that are clears, and they're like shiny.
Do you want to show this?
Yeah.
I'll zoom in on you.
Yeah.
Where's
So I just hit it with that real quick, and I love this line, the Citadel line of these over top of Turbo Dorks.
Yeah.
They really
wow. Yeah, that comes out really good.
They go like gangbusters.
On top of the Turbo Dark, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're just about done. There's 2 tiny little steps left. I feel like I keep saying that. I know. Hey, we were right, or I was right anyway, about Bubblegum Crisis being based off an anime.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of like vaguely familiar in my larger pop culture zeitgeist. Okay, so I've got the pink claws, which I think I probably am going to do after off stream. I'm probably going to hit them with one more dry brush of matcha to kind of tone the pink down a little bit.
Okay.
I want it to be a little more subtle than that, actually.
This out of the way.
But yeah, it's there, so I'm happy with it. But I think I'll tone it down with matcha. Okay, so as I showed you guys last week, we've got a couple of these, and I'll just show you guys this on one of these real quick. These are the Citadel Creeping Vines. Mostly there's already vines on this, so for these, I already did one, and I think, where's the one I did? Oh, it's over there by you, Brett. Yeah. So I'm going to add just to some of the ruins, and I kind of came up with this idea that there it is. Okay,
so that's the one that's already done.
You can see it there. And these just kind of help tie these pieces in with what we did last week, which is the giant Exodite hut.
Right. And
also the head, right, that's floating around the glam cam right now.
In case your
So I'll put this here by
Deathworld Forest trees don't have enough vines on them, you can put even more vines.
You can put even more vines. Anyway, why don't I not bother showing this today?
We're going to glue a couple of these on.
Well, okay, sure. We'll do one here. So
unless there's another step you want to do.
The only other step we have left is to put varnish on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or not varnish, but basically gloss coat.
The gloss, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, kind of the fun thing, if you want to show, we can show this real quick, Brett.
Sure.
Kind of one of the fun things about gluing these onto this kit is that these vines are like bendy.
Yeah.
So like what I did is pretty much when I did the last one.
Wrap it around. Yeah.
You can really like pick where it goes. Now the base you're going to glue on. So to do that, I just put a little bit of glue down the area and hold it down here. Make sure it looks like it's like the roots are going in the way they should go.
Yep.
I usually hold it with a Q-tip.
So you don't glue your finger to the model?
Yeah.
Zach, while that glue is drying, I have a question for you.
Yes.
These runes, these runes, R-U-N-E-S, that are these Eldar runes.
What is happening right now?
They look like they would do really well with some sort of glowy effect applied to the recesses. If you wanted these runes to look like they were glowing, like the letters, how would you apply sort of a light colored glow effect? You know, let's say I didn't want to do OSL. I just wanted almost a Tron effect where I wanted to get like a light color into the crevices of these runes.
Oh, I see. Well, I would say I haven't played around with any of the Citadel contrast paints.
Oh yeah.
But what I know, I know what they do is they give you this kind of like thick, milky, like opaque wash.
Right.
Rather than a transparent wash, which is what we're normally using, right? or at least semi-transparent,
Yeah.
more transparent than them. So I might try that. And I think then the way I would do it is maybe try like, going over with the white and
Right.
then rinse like right away. Because people are always talking about oil washes and how you can
Right.
wipe them off. But you can wipe off any wash,
Sure,
right? You just
yeah.
have to be fast. So, you'd put, I do, like this is a green, right? But if I went like that, and then right away, or even use your finger, you can see in there now, more green.
Right.
So like, I might try that with one of the contrast like light colors
Right.
to build up a white. And then I might even try see, somebody says the oxide that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the same thing. It's like a
Right.
milky opaque wash. That or the other one is hex fire, I think it's called. It's the one they intend you to use for like Necron.
Necrons, yeah.
Yeah, that one would.
Yeah, a lot of people do this
Yeah.
effect with black armor, dark colored armor, and then green in the cracks for
But
Necrons.
you could also do it even with the Soulstone Technicals.
Okay.
Which is how we did our gems. And I'm not going to do the gem on stream today. We did a million
Yeah.
gems last week. Okay, then the last thing I'll just show you guys real quick on this one, and then we'll call it, is nothing special. I guess I could use this through an airbrush, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, I haven't previously, but why not? Let's do it today.
So what is that paint?
So
I'm gonna zoom
this
in
is,
here.
I think, actually something you turned me on to, which is Vallejo Mecha Varnish. This is what you use on like your lenses, right?
The one I have is not
Not the same one.
the Mecha line, and
Okay.
I'm not super clear on what the difference is between their Mecha line and the sort of whatever not Mecha line. But yeah, you can absolutely airbrush varnish, and that's my preferred method of doing it.
Yeah, well, there we go. That was super fast and easy. And I guess I can do them all real quick.
And it'll give the varnish a little bit of a fade, so it won't be a hard transition between you won't actually get a water line necessarily this way. You'll just get sort of a fade between glossy
Oh, I
and
see.
not glossy.
Which is okay. Maybe I wanted the water line though. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how this looks. But that's it.
Airbrushing, and so we're intentionally just doing the bottom here, again, to make it look like
Oh, thank you,
these
Brandon.
mangroves are in a swamp and the waters come up. As the tides come in and go out, the bottom section gets, a little more glossy. It looks wet.
I think I can say this. I think I am getting a water line because you guys always make fun of me, you and Adrian, for how when I use my Badger, like the Patriot, I just like blast paint down.
Right.
So I think I actually am kind of getting a water line as a result of that.
Oh, I like it.
I think about this as being careful and using like the Sotar or not
Yeah.
like blasting and pulling all the way back. But this is basically the same way I apply varnish or primer, right? And Adrian was like seeing my primer. He's like, God, you put it on so thick. It's like, well, I actually don't put it on that thick. It's just like I'm pulling it back all the way and blasting it on.
Right.
And so it's not doing, it's like moisture, it's like not
There's just
being
a lot of it.
dry, right? So, but it dries fine.
Yep. Yeah, and especially varnishes, you don't have to worry about. Varnishes and primer, you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
putting on too much.
Or even like a base coat.
I mean,
usually.
I guess you do, but you have to really try hard to put on too much
Yeah.
varnish and primer.
Awesome. Boom. Well, I guess we can put these on glam cam, although the bottoms are all kind of sticky.
Yeah, let's do it.
But let's put should we put like a towel down?
A towel? Towel.
Towel. Not towel. Not like a crisis
fine.
suit. Okay. You think we're okay?
It'll be fine.
Okay. Boom. These were pretty much primed
Fast and easy.
plastic today.
That's right. And these will go alongside, like you saw in the opener, the 3D printed trees that we painted a couple months ago, which are also sort of mangrovey in nature and painted blue as part of the new Eldor board.
There we go.
Coming soon.
Yeah, and I think I
Okay.
did get the water line, which I really do want.
Yeah.
The water line. So there you go, guys. I hope that if you are into this kit, I hope that sorry, excuse me, microphone issues. I will say that it's a great kit. Came together easy. Was kind of fun to assemble. There's a lot of assembly options, by the way. So I kind of tried to pick a few plants and design a few plants, and tried to have some consistency rather than just go like hog wild. The other one that isn't on here, but I painted previously like months ago from the kit. I'll show you guys. I'll take a couple of these off. Is this thing? These are like the shard rack spines, they're called. And you can see they also have some turbo dork on them.
So these will be part of the board as well?
Yeah. And so they're a little more green and a little less blue. But yeah, it's an awesome kit. And I don't know, honestly, even if I don't know, I would wait for the price to come down. My guess is, I don't know, you tell me what you think, Brett. My guess, I feel like well, first of all, they mostly had it packaged in Kill Team, and they redid Kill Team, and they redid the design of Kill Team and everything. So my sort of guess, folks, is that this stuff is getting just repackaged.
Yeah, once you make a injection mold tool for a plastic kit like this, there's no reason to stop making it ever.
Yeah, and
so it'll come back around. They're just gonna put it in a new box with new packaging, and it'll be available in a couple months, hopefully.
Hopefully,
it's a cool kit.
Obviously we don't know anything and no promises here, but my guess truly is that it's just being repackaged.
Yeah. And the other option is, I think Willow was saying earlier, if you have a game store with a bargain bin that's got discontinued stuff in it, chances are you might be able to find one.
You might, yeah. That would be really serendipitous and great. And grab it if you can, because this is a super cool kit, really easy to work with. Super fun to try all kinds of wild stuff on, and comes out looking good. Cool. Brett, did we do it? Are we good?
We did it. We painted a lot of trees today, and ruins with runes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So TTTT starts Saturday.
Yeah, over on our sister channel, Tabletop Titans. The guys are playing the Tabletop Titans Tournament 2, starting Saturday.
Yep.
At noon Pacific time, which is going to be a ton of fun. Here on Hobby Titans a week from today.
Yeah, a week from today, we're taking a break from this stuff, and we're going to do Zangors. Well, I'm going to do Zangors. I don't know what you're going to do yet. What do you?
I am going to do something that I have to figure out soon. Yeah. I've got a couple different projects that have languished. I think I might actually do some modeling while you do some painting.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
My leading contender is...
You could also, well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you could put it up for a vote.
Oh my gosh, I actually like that idea a lot.
A few things that you're doing and put it up for
I'm definitely going to do that.
That'd be fun.
And then also in the next week-ish, we've got a pre-recorded video that we're going to be releasing.
Oh, right.
So keep an eye out for a terrain featurette. Yeah. That we're going to be putting out. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. The
only other thing, two other things I'd say real quick. One is Friday, we have one of our backlog videos coming out. Yeah. The Simon Hornet. And then I think, yeah.
And so just in case you haven't seen, before we created the Hobby Titans channel as its own entity, we had 4 or 5 video live streams that we did on Tabletop Titans. Yeah. And so we're just transferring those over. These are video live streams that aired previously that we'll be re-uploading to Hobby Titans, just so everything's kind of all in one place.
Yep. So you guys will see that pop up on Friday.
Yeah.
Also, hopefully, best wishes to anyone dealing with Hurricane Ida right now. I know some people were chatting about it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
I lived down there right after Katrina and right before Ivan, like literally. So I was super lucky. Literally threaded in the 2 years between Katrina and Ivan.
Yeah.
So hopefully Ida is not like either of those, especially Katrina. Obviously it's not. But take care, please. Yes. Awesome. Anything else, Brett?
No, I think we did it.
Okay, I'm excited for what's Brett gonna do vote.
Yeah, I'm excited about all the options, so you guys don't have to worry about what I'm excited
Yeah,
for.
you'll just pick reasonable things that
Yeah.
you want to do. Because if you pick one
Exactly.
that's bad, that's the one that's gonna
That'll
win.
definitely
Yeah.
get chosen.
Guys, as we always say, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and always be creating.
Bye.